Okay, so I wanted to do a little video. I wanted to post about my abdominoplasty, aka tummy tuck, aka skin removal surgery. So it's just going to be maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. But so anyway, so I'm going to probably be all over the place, but I'm going to try to keep it as cool and clean as possible. Anyway, so I lost weight back over the last 4 years, almost 5 years, started losing weight for the second time in my life, actually. But when I initially lost weight, I started doing a lot of cardio, running, that kind of thing. And with that, I started dropping a whole bunch of weight. So, but I've always been big all my life, but I dropped a whole bunch of weight. And then what I did in the last 2 years, I've been really thinking about, maybe the last 3 years, I should say, but almost once I lost all the weight and I figured that I had a lot of loose skin on my abdomen area, because I've always had a big stomach, I've always been big, and so I've always had, for me, it was no such thing as my skin bouncing back to something that it originally been, because I've always been big, so it was just new altogether for my body. So at any rate, I never really bounced back to anything. But what I did is, once I lost the weight, I was always contemplating trying to have surgery. What would it look like? Could I afford it? All those kind of things. So I was working at the hospital and went to go and just find out some information about the surgery to see if I could, first of all, afford it, if it was something reasonable for me to do. Went and got a consultation back in 2015, I believe it was. Not even that far back, maybe 16, I believe. My first consultation about trying to have a tummy tuck, abdominoplasty. Typically, women do that. Women who may have had lost a lot of weight, or women who have had children, and they go and have what they call a mommy makeover, where they may have some lipo done, tummy tuck, and maybe get their boobs lifted or something like that. So a lot of men don't necessarily get tummy tucks as often as women do. Even when I was trying to do the research, I couldn't find a lot of men that had done it. Even watching videos and things like that, I didn't see a lot of men who had had the surgery. So once I saw that, done some research, got the initial consultation, and they told me it was blanket amount of money. I was like, well, it will be a dream, because it's not going to happen no time soon. Because in my case, in most cases, insurance won't pay for that because it's considered cosmetic. So they won't pay for it unless it's something that's a health issue or something like that. For me, I lost the weight and I didn't like how I looked after I had lost so much weight, and I had this lower skin hanging from my stomach. It wasn't really hanging per se, but if you see some of my pictures on Instagram, you'll see kind of like what it looks like, or sometimes I was hiding it, but you will see some pictures from my before and after of stuff or whatever from the surgery. But it's been a little bit of difficult for me to, some days I have my good days and bad days prior to the surgery, because I kept looking at my body and looking at the fact that I lost weight, and now I've been doing what I'm supposed to do, working out, but the skin wasn't going to go anywhere. I don't care what I did, the belly wraps, I did the creams, I did all of that stuff that you think you should do to get rid of loose skin. It just wasn't happening for me. I had to have the surgery. Even when I had the consultation, I knew that I had to have the surgery. And so if I wanted those results or whatever, I didn't want that loose skin, that wrinkled loose skin look. My skin wasn't as bad as some people who lost a lot of weight, like especially people who were maybe really, really big and lost a lot of either had surgery, weight loss surgery, and lost a lot of weight. So it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't going to go anywhere if I was going to if I want to deal with it. It wasn't going anywhere. Whether I could work out all day, do 1,000 crunches, none of that was working. You can actually see my abs under the skin, so I had potential, to have abs and have my stomach looking like my core looking right, but the skin was hanging at the bottom, so that just bugged me out all the time. And some days I was good, some days I was, after the first consultation, I was like, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm getting older. It's not no big deal. Just deal with it. But I was getting tired of having to tuck that skin into my pants, having to kind of hide it whenever I take pictures, and it was just, most people say it wasn't that bad, but it was bad for me. Looking at the skin all the time, it was bad for me. So it's all about how you feel about yourself. So at any rate, make a long story short, let time go by. The option came up again for me to probably have the skin removal surgery, or aka tummy tuck, or abdominoplasty, and I was able to do it. Was able to get to get things going. Started talking to other people who had got it done, some friends or whatever. One friend in particular who had got hers done in Florida. And, that encouraged me to just jump on it and really get it going. Another guy hit me up prior to that, went out of town and get his surgery done, went out the country actually. And so that just started bringing it back to me. And then I was able to do it financially. So it was just remarkable. At any rate, got the surgery done almost 2 months ago. It'll be 2 months and 7 days actually. So I just want to talk about a little bit about the experience and what happened, what I am experiencing now. To answer your question, I did lose weight naturally. I lost a little over 80 pounds over the last almost 5 years, and had some loose skin. So I'm talking about the loose skin that I had and what I had to do to get the skin removed. A lot of people are asking me questions and asking me about, will I ever talk about it, or am I ashamed of the surgery and nothing like that. I didn't cheat I didn't cheat losing weight. I lost the weight naturally. I tried all the diet stuff, the diet pills, the cabbage and soup, orange juice and fasting. Every diet that was out there prior to that, I tried it. Paying for creams, paying $60 and $70 for creams, putting that on your stomach, and wearing the belt all day. I did all that stuff. That's just all of it. To me, it's all a gimmick. Not putting anybody out there or any people who sell those products that making it bad or whatever. I'm not saying that, but for me, it didn't work. You can try it out and see if that works or whatever. So for my only option in my case was to have the surgery. So initially, I was like, I'm not gonna tell nobody I had a tummy tuck because it's kind of embarrassing. I feel like I cheated. I feel like a lot of people are watching my journey and seeing that I had surgery and thinking that that's the easy way out, and that's not the case. Still got to put the work in. I put the work in. I lost the weight. I did what I had to do so that I can get to where I was ready to have the skin removal surgery, and I was able to do it. By the grace of God, I was able to do it. But at any rate, it's been almost 2 months, and so leading up to the surgery, I had my surgery done in Florida. I'm living in Atlanta, but I did a lot of research. Went to several consultations in Atlanta just to kind of make sure everybody's saying the same thing. Did some research on the doctor that I was going to, made it happen. Got to Florida a couple of days before the surgery. My mom came, my boyfriend came, my cousin, and that was it. I'm missing somebody. I feel like I'm missing somebody. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not tripping. I feel like it was 3 people. That was it. Yeah, my cousin, Anyway, so we were out there in Florida, and my nerves was crazy bad. I mean, it was bad. Just going through that, getting that process together, leading up to it was a lot for me. I was 3 days prior to the surgery, going out of town for the surgery. I was trying to do a last minute workout, trying to lose weight and all this kind of stuff, trying to lose more weight and all that kind. It was just a lot of mental things going on for me. Because if you think about it, it's a major surgery, and for me it was a major surgery, and you're cutting some of your, it's gonna sound real stupid, I guess cutting some of your body away. So it was emotionally draining, mentally draining, and it was just challenging for me. And it still is to this day, even though the surgery was done, it's still something that's constantly on my mind. But anyway, so we get to Miami. 2 days prior to the surgery, it was my mom's birthday. We celebrate my mom's birthday in Florida first, and then I had the pre-op and all that kind of stuff, and the surgery was the next day. All right, so we get there for the surgery. I get there at 5 o'clock that morning. Of course, I was lost in the wrong place. So I went through all that stuff, first of being lost. And so my mind was really, really, really crazy at that point. I'll put that down there. I'll tell you about that in just a second. Just going through that piece there. So I get there, he draws on me and let me know, what he's going to do and all that kind of stuff. He mentioned that it's not as much skin as I think it is. And typically with an abdominoplasty or the tummy tuck, they typically try to do some muscle repair, meaning that they take the stomach and kind of tighten it up so that it gives you more of that, hourglass figure, or just tighten up the muscles if they were damaged because of the weight. But in my case, he didn't have to do that because I already had the muscles formed behind my skin, which was great. That's probably why my recovery wasn't as bad as some people. But at any rate, he drew on my stomach, told me, kind of pulled the skin to kind of see what he was going to do and that kind of thing. And it was just, everything just happened so fast. Put me on the table, they start asking me like where I'm from and why am I doing this and that kind of thing. Next thing you know, I was out. And when I woke up, I was like, so are we starting the surgery or what's going on? Well, he said, oh, we're done. And I was like, what? And I reached down and I couldn't feel what I used to feel. Let me just say that. And so the skin was moved, but I had the garment on, of course. But it was just, I could I literally feel that piece of that hanging portion of my stomach was gone. So it was a lot to kind of take in. But that day, I guess I was so high on, still high on the anesthesia, still then getting high on the medication, that the pain medication that I stayed on. I had to stay up, take every 4 to 5 hours, or 4 to 6 hours. Stayed on that. I was good. They made sure that that day, right after surgery, or the day of surgery, that I did a lot of walking every other hour, so that I can maintain my blood flow. Because they cut that part of my abdomen open, pulled it up, and did some lipo, and then cut that piece off. Of course, they did lipo on my sides as well. Typically, with the tummy tuck or with the abdominoplasty, they do lipo on the sides as well. So they did do that. So I was really, really bruised up because of that. But that day, I didn't feel any pain. Honestly, it was just, I guess everything was still numb. Even the next couple of days, maybe the next 2 days, I went to Walmart the next day when I went back for the follow up. I mean, I was feeling pretty good. I was just trying to take my time. I'm typically an active person and like to be everywhere doing all kind of stuff, so it was kind of hard to just kind of lay low for a while. But I could not work out for 6 weeks after that. I really had to take my time recovering. I was good while I was in Florida recovering. Everything was going well. I didn't have any issues per se with anything. The next day when I went to the follow-up, that's when I first saw my stomach for the first time. And for me, y'all, it was crazy because I felt like, no fat transfer, no. I felt like that it didn't look right. Everything wasn't right because I was still swollen. And I'm still kind of swollen to this day. It takes about 3 to 4 months before the swelling goes down completely. But I was really, really swollen the following day. But at any rate, doctor told me, everything looks good. And the little nurse that was with me that the next day was like, everything looks good, nothing to worry about. I was just tripping at first. I was really, really paranoid. But anyway, get back to Atlanta. I was good. I think I even drove to the store or something the next following couple of days or whatever. So I was doing pretty good. But maybe the 5th day, like I just spit, excuse me, the 5th or the 6th day after surgery, maybe the 6th or 7th day, I don't know. I was back in Atlanta, and I took my mom to the airport the day before. And that day I took my mom to the airport. Let me say this: that day I took my mom to the airport that afternoon, I was in severe pain because I made the decision to walk my mother to the airport. And if you know anything about Atlanta Airport, it is very, very, it can be, it's crowded. It's a long walk. It's a lot of stuff you got to go through. You got to get through the line, go through baggage claim, get on the train, get to your gate. It's a lot of stuff, and I decided to walk that, and it hadn't been a good week out of surgery, so that was not good. But anyway, I felt it the next day, and the day of, I was just in pain, like I couldn't even walk. I literally could not walk. And when I thought I was gonna go to the emergency room, it was hurting so bad. So once I got through that piece there, stop. I'm sorry, my dog is doing that. Once I got through that piece there, the following days I got better and better and better. I had these drains in me, so I had to have those drains for like almost a week. And I had to go to my cousin's wedding like the following week, so I got the drains removed out the day before I went to the wedding. I went out of town for the wedding, so that was cool. Once I got the drains removed, I felt back. I'm almost back to myself. I still was a little weak, and that lasted for a couple of more days or whatever, but I felt a little more normal because the tubes were out. They had to put those drains in because the drains pull any fluid that is in your body. So it pulls that out so you can get that out, and you were good with that. My doctor, or my surgeon in Florida, had a relationship with a doctor here in Atlanta. So that's who he had me going to see a couple of days after I got back to Atlanta to follow up and make sure everything was good, remove stitches and everything like that. So people always ask me now, do I have any regrets? I would say no, absolutely not. Some days it's kind of hard for me to answer because I'm feeling like, man, I look all crazy or whatever, but it's just, I don't know, it's just mentally, I've never been, I'm always my biggest, I can't think of what I want to say, but I'm always that person that says I don't look good, or I'm not up to par, or whatever the case may be. I've always been that person, but my confidence is getting much better every day. And not having that stomach like I've always had all my life. I'm almost 30, I'll be 39 this year. All my life, it just seemed like it's just a new life that I have now. I'm really grateful for the opportunity that God gave me to be able to do this. And I want to just share this with other people who may be on this journey to losing weight and may get to a point where they have to have the surgery. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not cheating by doing it. If you're able to do it, go ahead and do it and get it. Go ahead and do it. It's not as painful as you think. You gotta just really gotta take care of yourself afterwards. Have good people. Like I had good people around me who helped me get through it. You have your days when you're gonna cry and get upset. I had those too because I felt like I couldn't do what I wanted to do and be mobile like I wanted to be initially. But it's something that I don't regret, and I'm glad I was able to do it. I always dreamed about being able to do it once I had the initial consultation years ago and thought I would never be able to do it. But there was a way for me to do it, and it happened, and I feel good about it. You can look on my page, on my social media stuff, Instagram, and this YouTube page, and see pictures and things like that to kind of see the before and after. Like I said, it's only been almost 2 months now, so I'm still recovering somewhat, but I'm able to work out and get things back going like I was. I'm almost at around 100% normal as far as like I was prior to surgery. I still fully can't stretch out like I did prior to that because the skin has been, if you gotta think about it, the skin has been pulled and cut and stretched and all that kind of stuff. So my body's still trying to get used to that whole thing. You know, so it's different, but I'm appreciative that I had the experience, and I wanted to do this YouTube video and put this video out there because there are men out there who may be thinking about doing it, and who you know, just don't have anybody that could really be transparent and talk about it. And I want to be that person. I'm one of those guys who will just say, look, I did it. I'm appreciative of it. I don't really care what people have negative to say. I didn't cheat. I lost the weight naturally, and then I had skin that I had to get removed. And I'm just grateful that I was able to do it. Now the scarring is much better. Every day every week I should say, it's getting lighter and lighter. I have a scar from one side to the other side, like a bikini, they call it a bikini line scar, something like that. So you can't see it with my underwear, you can't see it with my clothes, my pants, or anything unless I show you. And the doctor said that, you know, expect that to lighten up throughout the, you know, throughout the year or so. Depending on your body type or your skin type, you know, some people fade away completely. But mine, on my scar on the sides, are really clearing up very, very good already. So I can just imagine what it's going to look like in a year. But if you have questions and things like that, you know, feel free to DM me. I'll try to, you know, communicate stuff with you a little more detail. I'll talk about some more things about this journey later on down the line. Like I say, it's been 2 months, but it's been well worth the trip, well worth the journey. I can exercise better now. I can do push-ups, and I ain't got to worry about my stomach hitting the, you know, kind of hitting the ground and stuff like that. It's just a lot of little things that most people or myself, you know, had issues with, and now just to appreciate where I am now, it's just remarkable. Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, oh, I ain't got my stomach sitting in my lap. It's just big to me, and I'm just grateful that I was able to do it. But anyway, so this video is going to come to a close. I really want to do this and get this out there so people can kind of know what's going on. I'm getting a lot of questions about it, and I've been doing some posts and things like that. But I want to share it, and this is really rewarding and good for me because I didn't think that I would have the nerve enough to really talk about it and really tell people what happened with that whole piece and be transparent about it. But that's basically all I have. Thank y'all for watching, and peace out.